Today marks the 3rd anniversary of the passing of Premier Ralph Klein. Klein was the greatest premier Alberta has ever had. He famously balanced our budget in July of 2004. Klein was a brash, unabashed Albertan who spoke plainly and honestly. He was an everyman politician in the same vein as Rob Ford. Ralph Klein stood up for Alberta against an eastern-based federal Liberal government that was constantly attacking and undermining the West. That passion to defend the West now lives on in politicians like Saskatchewan Premier Brad Wall. When I used to watch Ralph Klein speak, and even now looking back at his old speeches, I never once doubted that he loved this province, our great province, as much as I do. And that's really hard to do, because I really love this place. And today I thought I'd look at the legacy of Ralph Klein through 4 really colorful, great Ralph Klein quotes. The first, and always timely quote, was about Edmonton. Ralph described the capital city of Alberta as, and I quote, "a fine city with too many socialists and mosquitoes. At least you can spray the mosquitoes," end quote. This quote is truer now than maybe it ever was in Ralph Klein's time. The mosquitoes are still really, really bad, like the size of ravens with a little less charm, and the socialists in the government city are worse than ever before. In fact, now they're in charge. They're even sitting in Ralph's chair. And with the public sector in Alberta bigger and more expensive than it ever was, you'd be hard-pressed to decide who's the worst bloodsucker now, the government or the mosquitoes. And the second quote was Ralph Klein's response to the federal Liberal government's new long gun registry. Klein said, and I quote, "This is about unenforceable registration of weapons that violates the rights of people who own firearms," end quote. Klein had been mayor of big city Calgary before he became the premier of the greatest province in the greatest country on the face of the earth. But even as a big city guy, Klein understood viscerally, in his gut, what rural Alberta values are. He didn't need coaching. Klein understood that limiting the lawful enjoyment and use of our firearms was an attack on rural culture by Eastern Liberals who did not appreciate our way of life. And even though blocking the imposition of the gun registry on Alberta by the Liberals was a fight Klein wasn't going to win, he still fought it anyways, because Klein always fought for us. The next quote encompasses the fearlessness of Ralph Klein. He said, and I quote, "You can call me every rotten, stinking name under the sun, but I ain't gonna blink," end quote. Klein said this when public sector unions were protesting against the cuts Klein knew he needed to make. This statement of his demonstrates the kind of self-assuredness that right-wing politicians now need to seize. If you are right, don't ever back down. Listen to the people who elected you and do what we ask. I'm afraid we might never see the kind of this righteous political bravery ever again. And then this last quote is my favorite Ralph Klein quote ever. It's a testimony to Klein's faith in Albertans and our ability to persevere and to truly overcome. And I believe it now more than ever. Ralph Klein said, "This is a province rich in blessings and hope. The best is yet to come." For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunreed.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.